Hi, I'm Justin, and we are talking e-commerce. Today, we are joined by Brett Stern. Brett is the co-owner of a portfolio of companies in the e-commerce retail sector of apparel and home decor. Brett's brands sell on Shopify, on major marketplaces, as well as to retailers. Brett also is the owner of a third-party logistics center located in South Florida. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. All good.
Brett, your grandfather started this company nearly 70 years ago. Did you always know that you'd work for the family business? And could you give us a brief overview of the different brands?
Sure. So the answer to the question is yes. I always thought I'd come into the family business. I played tennis when I was younger. I thought I was going to be a professional tennis player. But when that ended, when I was done with college, I went to law school for a year and a half and then decided to go into the family business. When I started, it was me, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, and we kind of did every task that was out there. Um, and historically, the business has been around since 1954. We have sold people like J.C. Penney's and Kohl's and Sears. The business was built on men's banded bottom shirts, and we have continued to grow from there and tried to turn the business around to be more e-commerce focused. Our Currently, we have 4 direct-to-consumer websites. We have the flagshirt.com, we have lindaanderson.com, we have 4th of July shirts.com, and we have onethrive.com. And really, what we've tried to do is take what we knew how to do well in the wholesale business and figure out ways to get it direct to consumer. And using our contacts overseas for our import, and really build the business that way. We have space here in South Florida. We have 51,000 square foot warehouse, and we have decided to take the tools that we've learned in distributing our own merchandise through e-commerce and offer it to other customers. So we're offering these e-commerce services through ldtrade.com. And I think the benefit of our 3PL is that we have done this work before. So every single customer who comes in here is going to be treated the same way we treat our own brands. So we're really excited about it.
Oh, that's great. Over 70 years, your family has seen a lot of changes. So what are some of the key factors that have helped your businesses not just survive, but thrive?
I think it's just having a street fighter's mentality. The way my dad taught me was always be selling. And he's one of the greatest salespeople I have ever met. And so it's keep things simple, never have a direct focus, and always be willing to maneuver and see opportunities that are in front of you and take advantage of them. I think that's been a really big key, is not being so set in stone on what we want to do.
Making the transition from traditional retail to selling online can be challenging. So can you just talk us through that process?
Yeah, it is quite challenging. But if you are importing your own product and you have margin to be able to pay for advertising, it is workable. It's challenged with regards to distribution. It's challenged with regard to personnel. People there, the quantity that you can sell direct to consumer is much less than the quantity you can sell wholesale. So it's been a long process of learning what to buy, what to stock, direct to consumer, and having a retail operation inventory wise is a lot different than doing wholesale. Where wholesale, we're mostly cut to order, and here we stock inventory. There's many factors that go into it, but we're learning every day, and we're still learning.
So you took the family business from a traditional retail business and you brought it online. And then with the rise of online marketplaces, you expanded to nearly every commercial marketplace, including Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart, Kohl's, and more. What advice do you have to brands that are looking to do that, to expand using all the online marketplaces? And what is your online marketplace strategy?
I think the online marketplaces are huge. I think that Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla. Um, and I think that without them, it's just a good way to sell more products. I personally like selling on our website the best because we get to keep the customer's information. But with the minimums that are required for us to buy product overseas, it's great for us to have all these other avenues to sell. I think it's really for an old school business like ours. It's a three-tiered approach. You have wholesale, you have drop ship, and you have marketplaces, and drop ship kind of fit in the same place, and direct to consumer. And the goal is to be able to sell enough of what you need to buy overseas because minimums are a big issue, especially when you're starting up.
So it's 2020, the pandemic hits, and you decided to pivot from apparel to also include home decor. Can you tell us that story and what the key decision factors were amongst so much uncertainty launching another business?
Sure. So actually, we launched One Thrive prior to the pandemic. So it was in the mid 2019. We had rented some space to a home decor company called Stratton Home Decor. I became very friendly with the owners of that business, and we just decided to create a third company together. We weren't sure exactly what it was going to be, but we realized from doing a lot of research that people were using what were called family command centers in their home to keep track of their lives. But what we saw was that the way that they were doing it was like corkboard here, a whiteboard there. It was very ugly. It wasn't fashionable at all, but it was keeping track of their lives. So we decided to create something that was both functional and fashionable, so that the people who wanted to keep track of every aspect of their life could see it. It was specifically analog was the what we were trying to do to make it so that these people could see use more than one sense every day to remember things. And it in the beginning of the pandemic actually is when we launched it January of 2020. And when the pandemic hit, everybody was at home. This was a product that people really wanted. And it was great to be able to get people, and when people are homeschooling, it was a terrific product for people to use at home. And it's been an adventure, ever since trying to build this business.
Wow, thanks for sharing your story and your strategy and a bit about your online businesses. So this is the part of the show where we like to ask our guests to give advice. And starting out, what advice would you have for somebody who's just getting into e-commerce? They haven't even started, they don't have a product, they don't have a platform, maybe they have some notes like scribbled on a napkin.
I would say talk to as many people as you can, get as much information as you can. There's a lot of people out there willing to help you. There's a lot of information online. I would say be very careful spending your money. There's a lot of people out there who want to take your money for advertising. There's a lot of people who say they can build you the greatest website in the world. Um, a lot of this stuff is not that complicated that you need to spend a ton of money. So you have to do your research to find the right people to work with so that you're not already deep in the hole once you actually get your site up and running.
What about for the e-commerce entrepreneur that has already experienced some level of success? They started their business, they're making progress. How did they take it to the next level? What are maybe some of the top few things that they can do to expand and grow?
I think it's the same thing. You got to talk to as many people. I know this is one of the reasons why you do this podcast is so people can hear from experts. I think that the more people that you learn from, the more that you see out there. Every day you're going to be learning something. Find the right marketing company. Make sure that your cost per acquisition is where it needs to be. Know what your margins are. Know what you can spend on advertising. Know where you want to spend the advertising. Be on top of your creative. There's so many different aspects of an online business. Just having a good idea is only one small piece of it. You got to have a good idea. You got to be able to execute. You got to be able to distribute the product right. There's lots of different pieces that go into it. So don't think that you know everything because nobody does, and just keep trying to learn.
So launching third-party logistics center is a significant expansion for your business. Can you tell us some of the reasons behind doing so and how your 3PL is different from all the 3PLs out there?
Sure. So the purpose was we had the space and we had the expertise to to distribute product for e-commerce companies, and we felt like a lot of the companies that are out there are only care about growth. They don't necessarily care as much about the customers, and so I just felt like our philosophy is make sure we take care of the customers the way we take care of our own business, and I think that is the impetus to it. And then at our warehouse, we have kind of what we call a we work location where people can come in here and work. And so if you'd like to have a spot to come and sit and work and be able to see your inventory in the back, you can go in the back of our warehouse. And I don't think that most 3PLs would offer that. We also offer a podcasting studio, live selling studio, and a photography studio. So we know all aspects of what it takes to grow an e-commerce business, and the thing that we've always done well is the distribution piece. So we felt like we could really offer that and make people feel comfortable that their inventory and their orders were going to get shipped on time, and they were going to be able to touch and feel their inventory in a simple manner. And I think when I started my internet business, I wanted to be out in the warehouse. I was picking a lot of the orders. I wanted to see it. I wanted to touch it. And a lot of people who started up, they have that closeness to their business. And when you give your stuff to a 3PL, you kind of lose that closeness. So we want to bring that back.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If anyone in the audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
Just send me an email, Brett, BRETT at Palmland, like the palm tree. And I'm happy to reply or help anybody.
Great. Thanks, Brett. We hope to have you back on the show soon, and we appreciate you sharing your time and your expertise.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.